Arkatech Beatz.
Yo, what's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It is your main man, juggernaut of multi-platinum production team, Arkatech Beatz. Shout out to my partner, Mike Trauma D. Tonight we're doing a quick tutorial on basically how we make songs pretty fast using Suno. And when I say songs, we're more so on the instrumental side for right now. On this particular tutorial, it's more on the instrumental side versus the vocal side. I like to refer to them as songs versus just beats, because we do have to structure them into song mode. So I like to think of what we do as songs versus them being as beats. So, if it's your first time here, make sure that you like, commenting, and subscribing. Make sure that you're jumping into our tutorials. If you're a producer, make sure that you are jumping into our producer group, right? And that is called the school.com at Future Producer Society. If you're not familiar with us as Arkatech Beatz, we are multi-platinum producers. I'm part of our multi-platinum production team. Shout out to my partner, Mike Trauma D. We have produced for all of the best of the best in hip-hop. That would be Big Pun, Nas, Prodigy of Mobb Deep, Jadakiss, The Game, Max B, French Montana. Those things are out now. Coke Wave 3.5 out now. Most recently was Khalifa, 2 Chainz, Freddie Gibbs, Killer Mike, Waka Flocka Flame, and so many others. We've produced for so many people in the music business over the last 20 years. So I wanted to get into a quick AI tutorial. I know some people were asking me about it. They wanted to get an idea of what it looks like to use AI to make songs or to make beats. And this tutorial, which I'm hoping to do, is to just kind of make it easy for folks to understand what's happening. And on the screen, what you're going to see now is really the new version 5.5 Suno Pro. I suggest that people use the Suno Pro, of course. The Suno, is it the Pro? What is it called? Just so that I don't want to misspeak. But it does have the Suno Studio included, right? So, it gives me the ability to basically go into the studio mode, which is kind of like a DAW, and allows us to kind of break out the stems and do all the great stuff that we want to do. So what you'll see here on the main page, of course, is you'll see a bunch of songs here. And then you basically describe what you want to make, right, for Suno. Suno is one of those things, it's basically prompt engineering. Like you use ChatGPT, if you guys are familiar with that, right? So you want to basically work with an idea first, and that's probably the main thing. And for my guys that are doing beats and producers and people that are doing songs, the things that you want to be aware of, if you kind of want to be aware of in dealing with Suno, is you want to know a few things for yourself. First, you want to kind of have an idea of what key you want to start your music out in, right? Do you want it to be in C minor, D minor, E sharp, whatever? Like, you want to just kind of know what's going to be the key that you want. The second thing you're going to want to know is the tempo. How fast do you want your beat or your song to be? And the next thing that you're going to want is you're going to want to have an idea of the type of genre and or style, right? Everything that Suno works on basically on styles. You have to basically determine what type of style you want to provide for the AI in order for it to give you something that is comparable to what may be your prompt, right? So just for a quick illustration, just to kind of get it started first, to kick it off, I'm gonna jump into this thing, and I want to, like I said, this is in the center, is basically part of the new user interface. If you go on the left, you'll have, of course, your home tab, which is where we are now. Of course, you can explore, listen to other people's music, right? And you have all different types of genres if you want to do that. Here we have the create tab, which we like to live in. On this other side here will be a little bit of the iterations of the stuff that we've been working on, right? The songs that we've been working on, etc. Here you have the studio mode. And as you can see, the studio mode has some songs that I was working on, some different joints, you know what I mean? So you can always do that. Right? And the thing with this here is like this, man. You definitely want to make sure that you're just doing all of this stuff. You want to just make sure that you understand your user interface, and you want to do whatever you want to make sure that you understand what you're doing with that. So we have all of the things here. We have the when we're dealing with the Suno, this is a Suno Studio interface, right? It has us here dealing with like all of the stems and everything that we may have on the beat, and just different things that we may be using. You know what I mean? And of course, if we're going to add on to this song, then we would do that. If you want to open up a new project, of course we can open up a new project, and of course we can add in the stuff that we start to make into the main, into the main thing on here. So I'm gonna go back to our here to our user interface. We have our library, of course. Then we have the search, and then this is a new feature called hooks. I just saw this as I walked in today, so it may be something that I have to take a look at. So I don't know what that is yet. So I'm gonna leave that out until I get an understanding of what that may or may not be, right? But we're going back to the home tab. So I want to get started and just kind of create something. So we're gonna go to what I would call the interface that I like to use, which is the regular create space. And some people use the simple mode, and some people use the advanced mode. For the sake of the illustration, we'll go simple with them, and we want to basically, describe the song that we want to make. And for this one, this is going to be an instrumental. Like I said earlier, we're doing an instrumental. And what I like to do here is I want to do maybe a 70s soul sample. I want to do 70s soul music. I'm saying right. And what's that? In the key of, let's just say E minor, right? Right. And we're gonna probably do 78 beats per minute, BPMs, or we can go 78 tempo. For me, I like to put a little bit of both, 78 BPM, 78 tempo. And then I might want to put a little bit of R&B, right? Because it is soul music, R&B, soul. What else? You go electric guitar. Bass guitar, and just for the sake of illustration, cinematic strings. All right. So let's just try to see what that can sound like right now. Now, of course, we can add a little bit more here in the tags, right? We can add in, drums, right? We can add in these different things that'll have some stuff here that you look on the bottom for inspiration, right? So Suno has a way of being able for you to do that. Now, I like to just copy that. And in some cases, if we go to advanced, advanced gives us a little bit more where we can put in the styles, of course. So we can definitely do what we just did, right? We could put in that here like we just did. We could choose among more styles if we want, and then we have more options here, which it'll tell us if we want a male or female voice, if that's if we're doing vocals. It'll give us the lyrics types, manual or auto. If you can type in your lyrics, if it's manual, if it's auto, you can let it add it in. And then it has this thing called weirdness. Like sometimes what happens is when you're using the weirdness function, it creates this, it does something to the music that makes it like I guess it does some sort of experiments when you do the weirdness. So like for me, I kind of like to take this down low, probably like into the red, like 10. I don't really want my music to have anything that's kind of weirdness to it. And then of course the style influences whatever you type here, and it's going to basically use that as a barometer. The more you go up, the more it'll sound like what you typed. The more you go down, it kind of gives the AI a little bit more free reign to run around. And then of course you want to name it. So I'm just going to name it Future Producer Society. I'll call it Suno Tutorial 1. All right, so we'll use that, and we'll try to get this. We'll ask it to create, and what we see, what I did, I wind up going from simple to advanced. You know, I'm just kind of used to working in advanced. But if you notice, we can go either way, right? So we've already copied this. We can go from simple, right, or we can take it back to advanced. It's kind of self-explanatory, right? It doesn't have too many things going on here. Again, we're not using any voices because we're not doing anything. We're not putting any lyrics in here because it's an instrumental, right? And then we can just kind of create it. And let's see what it does. And what Suno tends to do is it gives us 2 iterations at a time. All right, so it'll give us an A and a B. You know, so every time you do a create, you do an A and a B. Now, I don't know what it's going to give me. It may give me something fresh. It may give me something weak. This is just me creating something with no reference, right? Now, in some cases, what we can do is we can take an audio reference, right? Which is I can hum something in here, or I can take a sample. That's, of course, a sample that will allow us to use as an AI, that you can use to train an AI, right? Because, some royalty, some samples sources do not allow you to do that, right? So make sure that you're using the right sample sources in order to put them into Suno to get that, right? Because some don't allow you to actually use their samples to create new samples, right? So you want to kind of check the terms of service on that, because you want to make sure that you're not doing something that's going to create a derivative of something that may go in and out. Now, if the songs are written by you but produced by Suno, can you pitch them to artists? Yes. All right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, remember what we're doing? We're using the songs we're using the songs as demos. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're basically using Suno as the singer. Right, Kaz, how you doing, man? Big Show, what's up? Right, Speak Meeks World, thanks for joining. So the way that this works is if you're doing a song in Suno and you want to have Suno sing it and have all that going on so that you can demo the song, you can take that and you can bring that to an artist if the artist is not AI adverse. You have to do your research. Some artists do not want anything to do with AI at all, right? So a lot of that stuff is going to break down. It's going to come down to what you want the AI, what you want the artist to hear. You know what I'm saying? And what the artist is into. So it's your responsibility to do the due diligence. Some people don't mess with AI at all, right? So for you to bring a song demo to them as an AI, some people can be offended by it. Some people are good with it. You know what I'm saying? It's for you to do your research with that. In my experience so far, there's been some good reception because we've used AI for hooks. You know what I'm saying? And I have used that to pitch some songs. And I'll play you something like that. So I'll play you something that we did do in AI so that you can hear it, so that you can see how we kind of try to pitch the record. You know what I'm saying? So, let's listen to the first iteration of what we did. Remember I told you we did 70 Souls music in the key of E minor, right? We did that 78 BPMs, right? We did R&B, soul. We did electronic, electric guitar, bass guitar, and cinematic strings, right? And the thing that you have to do here in Suno, what you have to do when you, especially when you're doing, for me, when I'm listening to stuff that we do in Suno as iterations, you have to remember now, Suno will make changes throughout this record, and it will start with a main groove, and in some cases it will veer off, and it may change, it may do something different, it may do a break in the middle of the song. So it's important for you, as the person that's creating the prompt, to listen to it all the way through, right? And then what I do is I pick out the pieces that I want the most, or the parts that make the most sense to me. Like, some people will just use this output as it is. I recommend against that, right? Because using this output as it is, it creates a situation where it becomes difficult for you to copyright things that are 100% AI outputs. You have to realize that you have to treat AI stuff like we used to treat samples. So the stuff that we put in here, we always want to kind of take it out. We want to kind of play with it inside of the MPC. And then we want to make sure that we're doing something, either chopping it, we're adding on to it. We don't want to just take it and run with it. You can do that, but I recommend against it, because, you know, the way this stuff is changing, if it doesn't have human input in it, you're gonna create a situation where you're gonna have a lot of roadblocks for yourself moving forward, going down the line. So let's continue to listen to what we made here before we go to the second one. Swagger, what up, man? Leo Music, what up? For my producers that are in the building, like, I want you guys to listen to like Suno, listen to the way Suno mixes the music. You know what I'm saying? Pay attention to where the percussion is. Pay attention to where the hi-hats are. Pay attention to where the bass is sitting in the mix. Like, right? Pay attention to these things. Take these things and try to make sure that when you're producing your own music, try to replicate it and where the space is. Right? Because ultimately this will help you with your mixes. Like, I don't think guys really understand that. Like, it's not just about just taking the AI and say, okay, let me just take what the AI does and just run with it, right? For those who are starting on certain levels, the AI can help you to level up faster, right? Because now you have something that you can literally train, or you can have something that's working in tandem with you to kind of create better music. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about listening and paying attention to what it's given us. So that's the first iteration that it gave us. Let's listen to the second one. Part right there, that's a part that we might want to snatch. You see what I'm saying? So like we're in real time creating these samples. So now what I tend to do is I go back in and I'm going to add on to the prompt, right? And I say, I want a little bit more. I want more dramatic. I want more dramatic, street themed. Okay, I can't even spell. I want more dramatic street themed, um, urban classic. Urban classic feel, right? I don't want to put black exploitation. You could probably do that, but um, and then if you're familiar with your music, this is where it goes back to, like I said, of your music acumen, your experience in dealing with music and digging, right? Your boy Barry White and them used to have soul orchestras, right? And they used to call it that. So you can kind of lead into that, right? Soul orchestra, right? So now that's going to give us more strings. It's going to give us more horn sections. It's going to give us that, right? So we're going to leave that. We're going to make that change to it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just change this into the iteration 2. And then we're going to run this again, and then we're going to see what this gives us. Big Riz, what up? Cass, thanks for the diamonds, dog. Rob Mully, what up? Yeah, Isaac Hayes too. You know what I'm saying? But you're gonna have to deal with the sun, man, and he'd be a little funny. Shout out to fan base. You know what I'm saying? Isaac Hayes the third, man. He'd be on something a little different every now and again. So, shout out to him though. From what I understand, he did something to get back some of his Pops catalog. So, yeah, we got he got the competing social media platform, but you know how it goes. If you notice this, but I probably out of this joint I would snatch the drums. That's dope too, right? See, that's another one that's definitely dope. So what I probably want to do here now is I'm going to change this up a little bit, right? I'm going to change the BPMs to 83. I added on electric piano chords and Rhodes, right? And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play with the style reference. I'm going to take it from 50 to about 60. All right, we're gonna lean a little bit more on the style, and then we're going to try it. This is going to be iteration number 3. And we're going to keep playing with it until we get something. We're going to play with it till we get something that we really want to use. Now, don't get me wrong. Everything here that we've got so far, it is usable. All right, let's be clear. Everything that we have done so far, everything that this thing has put out is usable in one way or form or fashion. It's really up to you to determine what you want to sample, what parts of it do you want to use, what part do you want to put into your new work, right? And remember what we're doing here. We're looking to create a new work. We're not just trying to take the output from the AI and run with it, right? Because, again, I think that puts us in a severe disadvantage as things start to change, right? As the rules change, as things start to change, the more music that you literally add onto this thing, it will be really the determining factor as to how much ownership you're going to be able to claim in the future. And I think that is really the long-term play that we have to look. We have to look forward in this thing, right? Because if you guys don't think that this AI is not fingerprinting these files and these songs and these things, and it's not going to know which ones are derivatives of what, you're making a sad mistake. This is a higher tempo, 83. I added more electric piano with chords and Rhodes. You can use that. Like that part right there, we could use that right there. Because remember, we can separate the drum. We can take the drums out. Can you prompt it to use Yamaha DX7 synth sounds? You can try it. I don't know if that's gonna create the sounds, right? All we could basically do is we could say, hey, we want 80s and 90s R&B and or soul, right? So what it'll do is it'll lean toward that type of style, and depending on what was the pervasive sound of that time, if it was if it was those Yamahas and those things like that, it may most likely do an iteration of that, right? It may actually prompt that out. It may give you a sound, an output that may have those sounds. I'm not sure if it'll give a specific sound, right? Because I don't know if the AI does that. I've never done it. I don't know if that may work, but we can try it. Let's try the second iteration of this, see what it sounds like. Now, for me now, it sounds a little bit too much like easy listening, right? So I kind of want to get away from that, right? I don't want it to be so much like an easy listening sound. So what I've done is I'm gonna take the style reference up a little bit to 70, and then what I've added is that I want it to be gritty, and then I want to put hard street soul, right? So I'm gonna try to see if that gives us something slightly more edgy, right? And it just all depends on how you can describe the music that you're trying to create out of this thing. So let's do two more, just for the sake of the illustration, to see where we're going with it. Yeah, my bad for the folks that's on TikTok. I needed to kind of move it over so you can see what I'm doing. And for my folks that are on YouTube, I move myself over so you can see what I'm doing. And for everybody that needs to jump into our school community, make sure you're jumping into that, man, so we can, so you can get this stuff like we're teaching it right in real time. All right, we got two more iterations. Is it ready? Let's take a listen to it. More than soul, man. Yeah, how those drums are hitting though. Suno, you always want to wait for around here in the record. Yeah, it changes. Hey man, don't lose no sleep, man. You take that bitch and you take this stuff and you just fold it in. You understand? It's like, yo, you don't listen, man. It's like guys are looking to compete with supercomputers. You ain't gonna be able to compete with supercomputers. You can team up with them, but you ain't gonna be able to fight them. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't think that guys should be looking at this in this kind of situation. I think right now is a prime opportunity for guys to become the same way that we became experts at manipulating samples, right? Experts of chopping, experts of tuning and doing this and doing that and adding these things to it. We have to become the experts of prompt engineering when it comes to music. We have to be able to take the two and blend the worlds together. The people that understand this the fastest are the ones that are going to be the ones that can really benefit off of this. If you're not going to be able to do that, if we're going to stay in this rigid kind of, it has to be done this way, right? Like, you're going to lose. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to lose. So like the way that I've always seen almost everything is like, you have to be a futurist with this type of shit. You got to look at this thing. You got to look at what it can do, right? And then we have to now start to kind of use it in a way that can help us to move what we want to move forward, right? Use it to improve the music. Use it to improve your ear. Use it to improve your drum fills. Use it to improve those things, right? Because what happens is, with a lot of these things, we never had access to these sounds and these type of things to really deconstruct them, right? To understand why they work, to understand why they sound that way, right? And I think that's also the great thing about using like splice and stuff like that, right? Because say for example, we're using splice. Like, if you don't have a thing like splice, you don't know how to categorize the sound that you're listening for. You don't know what sound you're listening for. Like, when you have a thing like splice gives you all of that. So like, say for example, if you're just going through random stuff, it'll tell you the genre, it'll tell you the style, it'll tell you the key, it'll tell you these things. These are the things that we can use to prompt engineer off of, all right? The stuff that you may not even remember what it was. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, some guys are like, I don't know how to describe a sound, right? And things like splice help people to understand what instruments to use. You know what I'm saying? Like, what to even search for in your VST, right? Do you remember when you just first got a VST and you just randomly going through it? You didn't know what the sound was that you were looking for. Only when you heard it, you knew what it was, but you didn't know what it was. And then now, when you see me doing this stuff in real time, you see me like, yo, I need a lead, or okay, I need a synth lead, or I need this type of bass. I need this, a sine bass. You know what I mean? Like, you start to understand what you're looking for based off of the experience and using the tools that we're using day to day. So let's listen to the second iteration of it, and I want to try to see what we can build off of it after we hear what we hear. What song on Capital Punishment did we produce? We produced Capital Punishment. We did the title track. And then we did Leatherface on the second album. We did Triple Threat on the Terror Squad album. Before he passed away, man. Rest in peace to Big Pun, man. Big Pun changed my life. Shout out to Fat Joe. Terror Squad. Rest in peace to Prodigy. Shout out to him. He's another one. You know what I mean? So now I want to change one more thing. All right, I went back into the prompt again. Remember I said we're going to keep tweaking it until we get exactly what I need. All right? And, I'm listening. I want something that's more, I want 70s street soul music used in gangster films. All right? I want to use that. I want to I want to just give it a prompt that's a little bit, out there. But we got to see if it's going to give us the gritty sound, ear to the street that I need. Because, I need it to be like that. That's the claim to fame. Cinematic, gritty, street. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, I may have to pull some of these things out, right? Like, I may need to pull out, the piano and the chords because that tends to soften the music. Right? And then you can also tell it to not include certain styles. So, for example, you can exclude a style like easy listening, right? Like, get that out of here. Or exclude jazz. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where you see some of the solos coming in. Because a lot of the solos that you might be hearing is jazz inspired, and we're trying to stay away from it. And sometimes you have to play a game when you're dealing with funk music, because funk music can kind of, take you away from where you want to land. The drums are where I want it. And the bass is rocking. telling you, man. Sometimes I don't be touching down until like 7 a.m., man. My wife be like, yo, what's really good with you? she like, what's really good with you? Like, you going to bed when everybody waking up. I'm like, listen, man, like, this is the name of the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've been with me 20 years. You know what it is. Sound like Rick Ross. You see what I'm saying? So, like, now we're like in that realm, right? So, I'm going to favorite this one. You want to favorite it because, you know, it'll get lost in all these iterations. I'm going to do one more iteration, right? I'm going to do one more iteration. And what I'm probably going to wind up doing, I'm probably going to wind up taking out. I got Street Soul, right? And I probably want to put in, lush strings. I'm going to put in lush, dramatic. I can't see from where I'm at right now. I got on this screen. Next time I'm going to change the screen so I can see from this screen versus the other one. Lush, dramatic, and cinematic, right? Lush, dramatic, and cinematic strings, right? Now, of course, we would probably get into like putting in like Wurlitzer, like you want to use the sounds of the time, you know what I mean? You want to use that to describe it. If you know, if you understand, the sounds that they use. Sometimes what I like to watch is I like to watch some of those guys who worked on like Thriller, and they tell you like all of the things that they use. They use this keyboard, they use that keyboard, and so to your point, Rob Muller, you could probably put in the actual names of those machines, right? Just to see if the AI can replicate it, right? So, just so that you can, everything here is about an education in music, man. Like, remember what I said? It's like if you don't understand it, or if you're not educated on certain levels of it, how can you ask it? How can you know what to ask it for? You see what I'm saying? So this is why we telling guys, you got to study this shit. You got to listen to people's music. You got to really dive into this thing so that you can understand it. Remember, this is going to become a game of articulation, right? Who can articulate themselves the best to the AI to get the stuff that's in their head out here, right? Because we're creating it from my head and what I'm thinking and what I want it to sound like, but I have to be able to articulate that into words, or else we'll never get there, right? So I have to understand the key. I have to understand the tempo. I have to understand the pitch. I have to understand, what is it that I want? And in some cases, you might even go a little deeper. You might have to say, okay, I want to, this type of music theory, this type of chord structure, right? Like you may have to even get that granular, right? In order to kind of get it to where you need it to go. And it all depends on, where you are in terms of your music. I think we're here. The intro was crazy. Some Rick Ross type. Fuck. Yeah, you hear that shit? Listen. You see how it changed? It changed the bass line. That is insane. Oh shit. So I could snatch that whole intro, right? Right? Like listen, we could snatch the whole intro, right? Right?
Arkatech Beatz.
And then I would probably just skip to this part, right? Got the vocal sample in it going crazy. Oh my God, yo, listen, man. Listen, man. Y'all could fuck around if you want to, but I'm not. Shit. This one, the drums are weak. Not the pattern, but the sound. Wait for the change. Remember I said right here. You motherfucker. That is crazy, dog. All right, one last one for the road, fellas. I'm gonna take it all the way to 85. We'll take it to 85. All right, that's probably, once you start going into the red, you start doing something a little funky. What was that? Iteration 6. We're gonna do iteration 1. So it's lucky 7. The last 3 iterations right now are money. We could literally stop where we are right now. Like those are money, right? So for those who are watching, we've successfully got our prompt where we wanted to give us. But you see how many iterations it took. We went through 7 iterations, which is basically 14 different tracks. And this is probably why I say, hey man, just buy the professional package so that you can just kind of make stuff without worrying about your credits and all that dumb shit, right? And then just do what you got to do with this thing until you get it where you want to get it. You know what I'm saying? But if you notice, what I kept doing is I kept adding on what I want to hear. I want to hear more strings. I want to hear more gritty. I want to hear more street. You know what I'm saying? And then we number everything. And then what Suno does for us is, in the beginning when I first started using Suno, it didn't give us a stamp of the settings, right? Before, it didn't tell us how much of the style influence it was. I used to have to, copy and paste those things into a different notepad to kind of remember, what the setting was. Now it'll save all of those things on a different. Once you click on a beat, it'll show you everything that you put into it to get it where it was, the prompt and everything else. So it starts to save those things automatically. It wasn't doing that at first. So now we're gonna go into the last iteration of it that we want to do, and then I'm gonna go into the Suno Studio just for a little bit, so that you can see what we can do as far as exporting the stems and then separating the instruments. So then you can kind of see that you have a lot more control over this than people want to give you credit for. Ashkin, what up, man? Shout out to y'all for staying up late, man. I had to just make sure that you can see my screen and hear the music and everything. So it took me a little while to kind of say, okay, what I want to do with this screen to make sure that you can see it and all the other good stuff. For my folks, man, jump into that Future Producer Society, man. If you're trying to learn, this is where it is. If you're trying to learn, make sure you're jumping in. Link is on the screen. Jump in. All right. We got 2 more iterations. It definitely sounds like the beginning of a freaking gangster film. Like, listen to that shit. Right? He was a man that used to bust his gun and run the street wild. Let's go. Listen to that shit. And it ends like an episode of Knight Rider and shit. You see how they listen? These guys, listen, they've been training the AI on something. Crazy too. It's veering off. What we want to wait gonna go with right. I think this is the one that had toss up between that one and so boom. So I'm gonna take this here, right? And we're gonna open up to this in Suno Studio. So we're gonna open up in Studio real quick. I can't see my screen though. My drone is like at least, what's that, about 3 feet away? And see right here now, it's gonna take us into this. It's gonna take us into this kind of a DAW kind of feel, right? So it still has. So you can, and the thing about it is you can still create things on the left side, and you can basically pull them into the main editor. But if you notice what the editor has here is it's already told us what the clip settings are. It has the tempo, it's on beat. You can transpose it up and down. You can change the speed. You can change the clip volume here, right? Now, the main thing is we can extract the stems. And this is what we want to do. We want to do all detected stems. We want to extract all of that. If we come down lower here, it's going to see it has all of the, you can add a track, you can upload stuff to it. It has our time signature. It has our tempo, right? And right now it's at 79. It really should have been, this should have been at 83. So you notice what it did is that we had the prompt, well no, I had a prompt at 78. So, but no, this should have been at 83 because I changed it to 83. But did I change both of them or did I just change one in my prompt? Because I had 83 BPMs and then I had tempo. I might have had tempo 78 and 83. But either way, we can kind of move it up or down however we want, because now it has like a warping feature to keep it all in timing and sync, right? So you see what it did? It extracted all of our stems, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to insert them all into the editor, right? So it's basically this. It's basically like your basic DAW. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you can do your sounds. So if you want to take a certain part of it, you can highlight a certain part of it. You can loop that part if you want to. And then if you want to export that part, you can export it just that time range. So this is perfect for when you're ready to just dump everything into the MPC, right? When you want to jump into the MPC, you can just dump it right in. You see how that works? So where did my screen go? Yeah, so here we go. So boom. What we want to do here is we want to probably, let's listen to what the part of the song that I think I like the most, which is probably toward the end. All right? And, you know, this is really the part of the record that I particularly like. So, you know. guitar back in, let's put the keyboards back in, let's put the percussion and the synth. This is the DAW inside of Suno. This is in Suno Professional, Suno Studio. Suno has its own DAW. So remember when I was telling you guys that folks are using Suno, right? And you see like how you can tell, like the song typically was how Suno does it is it has a very, very strong intro. It has that first verse. It kind of loops back to an iteration of what the hook is, and then it goes into something different, right? It changes. I don't know if you guys notice that every single time there's a certain part of the record where it starts to change and it starts to veer off, because what it's doing is it's giving you a whole bunch of ideas, and you have to go in now and you have to segment it off in 2 bars, 4 bars, 8 bars. So if you see what I'm doing here now, I'm segmenting off the bars or the parts of the bar, the places that I think should loop, right? So as a producer now, I'm going to go into his thing and I'm going to start picking apart like, okay, what do I think should loop? What do I think should be put here? What do I think should be moved? You can go in here and of course you can use like Control E and you can start to create slices, right? So you start to create slices in here if you want to. Did it just freeze? What just happened? Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I see how it just created a slice for me by pressing Control E. So you can basically make your slices, and then you can start moving things around. Right, it won't give you a rap. It won't give you a regular rap song structure. It just doesn't do it. And look, I think that is the fail-safe to get people to not totally rely on the AI. I think Suno was doing that specifically to get people to, arrange their records, to get some human input into it. I think that is the way that they're trying to get people to understand that that's what you need to do. But I don't think people are following it. People are just kind of taking it and just putting it out. You can't just, because the reality of streaming and just taking a whole bunch of songs and dumping them into the streaming world, it creates a situation where we dilute the royalty pool. This is the reality of the situation. It does dilute the royalty pool for people who are really having, real music in there, right? So this is their way of kind of creating that barrier that I think people need to kind of be able to work their way around, right? So not to make this tutorial super longer than it needs to be, you can kind of see where we need to go with this, right? So we can pull out the instruments that we want. We can always go here. We can extract or export the full song, or we can export a portion of what we want to be sectioned off into, and then we can take parts of this record and we can actually put it into the MPC and start to sample these things, right? So let's say, for example, I wanted to use this part of the record that doesn't have the bass in it, right? Just the strings, right? Yeah, the guitar and the keys. Or maybe just the part with the bass in it, right? Now you have to remember now, Suno stems are not 100% clean. A lot of this stuff is just kind of EQ stem separation. It's not like true stem separation. It's not like the AI is creating separate stems as it creates the 2-track. It's not doing that. It creates the 2-track, and then from the 2-track, it starts to break things down through that whole equalization, stem separation thing. So that's how come you have those artifacts and you have things that kind of feel like they're swaying around. And this is, again, man, this is a part of the production process, right? What we're supposed to do as the producers, we're supposed to take what this thing is giving us, we're supposed to put it back into our DAWs, into the MPCs, and then we're supposed to chop this stuff up, EQ this stuff to death, and we're supposed to get it into something that may actually change, you know. You can do stems in groups. Sometimes if you have a song, it can separate it like vocals and then track, right? For songs, they don't necessarily separate the vocals too much outside of maybe like the main backing vocals, but like as far as like each individual harmony and stuff like that, it doesn't break that out like that. So in this case, I can create the group that I want and then I can export it. So for the sake of illustration, I have the synth, the keyboard, the guitar, and the bass in one. I'm going to export that. Hold on, and then little beats. Hold on a second. I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna go here. Alright, so I'm gonna do that section. I'm gonna go here. And then we're gonna export this section time range. Right? And then see it says song saved, then we're gonna go to it. And then when we go to it, I have to name this, of course, FPS Suno tutorial. I'm gonna call it extracted stem, just for the sake of illustration. And then of course we could play it once the image generates. Like right now, it's still generated for me. We'll let that do what it gotta do, and then we'll go back to it. sure what's happening with it tonight. It normally doesn't take this long. Oh, there it goes. All right. So I can take that now that I've that it's done it. It's extracted it for me, and then I can just download it to a WAV file. See, if you have Pro, you'll be able to you can do a video, you can do MP3 audio, and then a WAV audio. Typically, because I want it to have a higher quality, I will go with the WAV. And then download that file. All right. We'll make it open up in our Finder. And then what we'll do is we can literally take it. Once the sound, once my downloads come up, I can literally take the sound and I could drag it into the MPC. Now, you know, my drive is taking mad long to update the download files, which is telling me that my drive has too much files on it, and I either need to start deleting stuff, or I have to start getting ready to back it up because it's getting ready to fail. Because it should never take this long to load. Now, if you're doing sync, I don't recommend it because the stems aren't clean. You know what I mean? Like, you'll have to really clean up these stems if you can do that. So if you notice, I have my download folder, and I'm just gonna drag this over here and drag it into my MPC, into my pad. Right? I can edit it now here if I need to, right? Into my program edit. Yeah, Riz, I got an SSD installed. I put a tutorial on the on the YouTube that showed me put it in the SSD card. So I opened up the back and I put the whole thing in there. So it should be on our YouTube, and you can watch that tutorial, and then it has a link to the SSD card that I actually used. I don't know if you have one in yours. We're gonna get this down to 79. Right. And listen, this is me putting the sample in the MPC. This is what, 4-bar loop? What's it, 8 bars? I don't think it's 8 bars. It might be 8. Interesting. My metronome is like behind in my ear. It may just be because I'm streaming. You know what I'm saying? Now remember, I could have just downloaded all the other parts. I just didn't do it, right? But just for the sake of the illustration, man, like, you know what I mean? Like we're just going to we're gonna do what we normally do. You know, we're gonna make this beat the way we normally make the beats, right? And some people say, why would you do that? You already got it in Suno, right? Remember what I told you, I gotta make it your own. Killing me. Latency killing me. Latency killing me like a mug. We're gonna use no repeat just for that. I get the gist of it, right? So this is the thing, man. Like, you know, like I was saying in the general sense, man. Like, this is how we're using Suno to make tracks if you want to make songs. You know what I'm saying? And we would just have to cut this up, and we would have to basically start to resequence it. But you know, some folks will look at it and say, hey, that's a little bit longer of a process to use with Suno output it. But again, man, you know, what my brain tells me that there is going to be more changes down the line as the lawsuits start to constrict, you know what I'm saying, as people start to sell off stakes, as deals start to get made behind the closed doors, we have to start thinking in advance. You know what I'm saying? And for those who were watching our podcast, we were talking about when Future sold his catalog, and when Timberland sold his catalog, and when Bieber and them sold their catalog. Who else? Timberland, RZA. When all these guys were selling their catalog, me and Mike always had the question, like, why would these guys be selling their catalog, and why would people be buying it for the amount of money that they were buying it for? I was like, typically that's an indication of an emerging technology that you and I are not privy to, right? And this is before Suno hit the market. So this is what it was telling us. It was basically telling us that there was something on the horizon that they didn't tell us about, and then they were taking this stuff, and of course they were going to use those catalogs to train the AI. Why wouldn't else you do it? You know, what would be the other way for you to make money off of it, just outside of traditional publishing? Would be, of course, the way of training an AI and being able to put out music in mass, right? That you control 100% of. No more publishing, no more any of that. None of that stuff that you have to share with writers and regular artists. So I think that was really the plan all along. But what I would tell you to do is to make sure that you add on as much as you can add on. You know, that makes sense, you know, in terms of you making your beat. But that is basically that's really how I would say I use Suno. That's how I use it to really kind of get us to where we want to get to. And think about it like this, right? When you're actually starting with a sample and you're putting it into the system and then prompting it based off of the sample that's already in it, and you're asking it to give you a cover, then it creates a different type of output. And we'll do that in probably the next one when we get into it. We'll probably wind up doing it that way versus just doing the raw prompt. But you see how dope it sounds off of just the raw prompt. Nothing inputted into it. No humming, no nothing, no melody, nothing. Just me, just straight prompting it. So you can clearly see that, you know, this is a game changer, people. When I say it's a game changer of a magnitude that I don't think people are really ready for. But, you know, I would hope that that people are getting ready to really get into this thing and really be able to use this tool, man. This is a great tool that I think more artists have to get into, more producers got to get into it, man. Just make sure y'all getting into this thing. So I'm about to sign off. I appreciate everybody that's jumping in. Make sure that y'all jump into that Future Producer Society. Make sure that you're sharing with a friend. Anybody that wants to learn this music production, make sure the link is on the screen. Make sure that y'all are checking that out, and let's get into it, man. Let's go. Yeah. I don't even know why that's playing. But in any event, I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. I'm going to get out of here with this. Let's listen to what we did, and let's play it from the top.
Arkatech Beatz.
I had to put a tag on it. Peace, y'all. Be safe.